Margot and welcome to my vlog series. Recently, I got into being obsessed with Japan, as in the country itself. I began to watch anime, I read about its history, I went to a Japanese art exhibit, I'm trying to learn the language, and I'm trying to read its literature. I'm not kidding when I said that I borrowed a book in the library just to read on Japan's history from cover to cover. It's one of those moments when you accidentally discover things you wouldn't think you'd like, but you end up liking anyway. It's like when you go to a Wikipedia page about a simple topic, but then at 3 a.m. you find yourself in the deep web reading about hemodialysis or something. Now, this book, Norwegian Wood, by Haruki Murakami, is one of those books that made me appreciate Japan a lot more, and is also one of the reasons why I started reading again in the first place. It's also amusing because when I read the story, it was the time Logan Paul went to Japan and filmed the dead body at the base of Mount Fuji. Yeah. Although a lot of people say that Murakami's book is a tragic romance, it's actually pretty dark, and personally, the novel itself holds the duality that made me say, "What?" the whole time I was reading it, because it didn't make sense, but it did. The book not making sense was put together so beautifully and so coherently that it's an illusion to say that the motive doesn't involve dualism. As we all know, the story is settled in 60s Japan and revolves around this college guy named Toru Watanabe, who's trying to recover from the death of his best friend, Kizuki. I was mostly interested in the way Murakami was able to confuse me with how flat a character Toru sounded, like how being lost he sounded like in life, or lost he was at life. He fell in love with Naoko, and ironically enough, they were brought together by Kizuki's death. Oh my god, Kizuki is Naoko's boyfriend. And now Naoko is hooking up with Toru, okay. But as they grew together with this passion, this was also the reason why they were physically brought apart. Toru had feelings for Naoko, something unconditional and passionate, but complicated. I don't know if it should really be love or just a longing for her as something he wants to fill in his empty soul after Kizuki's passing. After they slept one night, Naoko left to go to the sanatorium far away from Tokyo. And because of this, I believe that Toru had to fill the void with something else. Enter Midori, this super quirky girl who is sexually liberated and assertive and basically a personified firecracker. She is somewhat the opposite of who Naoko is. Toru claims to have fallen in love with her to the point that after such a complicated relationship with her as well, he tells her that he loves her. See, who says that? Who says that someone loves them after being so complicated? Midori even left her boyfriend because she liked Toru and she thought that he wasn't as boring as her boyfriend was. He was home to her, and she was home to him as well. I think of this more of problematic because, what about Naoko, right? Toru also said that he'd wait for her regardless of what happens, but when Midori came to his life, she disappeared. There were a total of 6 deaths in the book, and I thought of this as a what kind of thing whenever I encountered Toru experiencing them throughout the story. And with these experiences, it makes me realize that Toru's probably dead inside already. He viewed death as something inauthentic in the first place. Inauthentic meaning, yes, everyone dies, but it won't happen to me anytime sooner. As opposed to being authentic, which means that, yes, we will all die, and I have to anticipate this death by fulfilling my being. Heidegger. Personally, I relate so much to him because of the way he tries to find meaning in living after Kizuki kills himself. And with this, he has tendencies to just numb himself out, trying to fill that void inside of him by meaningless sex, alcohol, wandering, and ironically, daily work or school routines. His actions are questionable because he blinds himself with his concept of love for filling the void. But even so, he realizes that in the instances of death, that's when you can experience living. He realizes him being temporary in this world, and he acknowledges it, and he moves on. In other words, he lives. This book seriously gave me a headache, and if I had the chance to unknow the book, I would, so that I could be amazed at how the story was written over and over again. I swear, I fell in love with this book. I even highlighted a lot. And I can see how, like, you know, I was looking back at my annotations, and I was able to catch a quote or a line in the book that shows the theme of death in his story. What was it? Page 107. This boy Kazuki, what had his existence meant to me? To this question, I could find no answer. All I knew with absolute certainty was that Kazuki's death had robbed me forever a part of my adolescence. And in this little annotation over here, I said, important to story arc, death to be real. I said in this annotation, important to story arc, death to be relied on for identity. Wow, that's some foreshadowing you got there. Because at page 107, I already had this book figured out. Of course, I went to Goodreads. God, I love this book so much. Anyway, and this is how I fell in love with the 60s Japanese aesthetic. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to talk more about it, you can add me on my social media accounts or leave a comment down below. And I will see you guys next time.